Good morning. I'd like to call to order the recess meeting of August the 27th, 2025. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Baker,
Here.
Mr. Beck,
Here.
Mr. Chauncey,
I'm here.
Mr. Graham,
Here.
Mr. Hilton.
Will not be with us today.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Highlander,
Here.
Dr. Mackey,
Here.
Mr. Sharp,
Here.
Mr. Shipley, Mr. Smith, Mr. Chairman Eversole.
Here. Invocation and pledge to be conducted by Commissioner Mackey, so all please rise.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, members of the commission, today we have Pastor Doug Plumley. He's from the Ridgedale Baptist Church, and he's going to bring us a prayer, and I'll lead us in the pledge.
Would you join me in a word of prayer at this time? God, today we start with thankful hearts. Thankful for the beautiful weather we have today as we come to this time of the season, the changing of weather. But God, as we experience a change of weather, we are thankful also that you never change. You're always the same and always there with us. And God, today we're also very thankful for all these elected officials and those who are serving our community today. And God, I pray your special blessings upon them today. Watch over them, protect them, and care for them. And God, I pray especially for our commissioners and all those today who will be making decisions. Give them wisdom, give them guidance, and help them to remember they are serving the community and make the decisions that are best for our community. God, as we're thankful for our country, we continue to pray for all of our leaders in our country. We pray for the blessings we have. But God, today we also remember those who are less fortunate than us, because many today don't have the health that we have that we could come. We pray your healing hand upon those. God, we also pray for those who are hurting today in the loss of loved ones. We ask that you would lay your healing hand upon them and comfort those families in their time of loss. And God, we just pray for all those others who are less fortunate, who are struggling in life. But God, I also pray that for all of us here this morning, we will look for opportunities today to make a difference and make an impact in our community and the lives of others around us. Thank you for your love, your mercy, and the many blessings we have here in America today. And we pray your blessings upon all the decisions made in our meeting this morning. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Address Dr. Plumley before he leaves.
Commissioner Highlander, yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Plumley, we all look forward to your wonderful prayers that you give, but today, on behalf of this commission, we would like to express our condolences for the loss of your mother, and thank you so much for your service to this community. And we know where she is, and she's in a better place than we are. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your service.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your prayers. I appreciate them very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey and Commissioner Highlander. Mr. Clerk, I'm showing 5 recessed items. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
We're gonna have a lot to discuss here. The first resolution, I'll before we read it in the record, Ms. Varnell, this is the resolution that dates back till, I guess, April. Are we ready to move forward on this? You feel comfortable?
We are, yes. I've reviewed the Zoll contract again, along with each addendum to it, and I feel comfortable moving forward.
Okay. With that, Madam Clerk, if you'll read this into the record, 825-35.
Resolution 825-35, a resolution accepting the proposal from Zoll Data Systems, Inc. for an initial 3-year term to provide software and data solution services amounting to a total of $202,120 for the Emergency Medical Services Department Ambulance Billing Services, and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Baker, I'm sorry, Commissioner Graham, my apology, Commissioner Graham. And Commissioner Highlander. I don't know how I did that. But Commissioner Graham made the motion. Commissioner Highlander seconds that motion. See no lights on for discussion. No one standing for comment. That will roll call.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Beck? Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey? Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Lee, for your patience with this. 825-35 passes. 825-36. Read it to record, please.
Resolution 825-36, a resolution to authorize the county mayor to execute a contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Finance and Administration Strategic Technology Solutions, accepting a grant of an amount not to exceed $69,000 and for the use of cybersecurity software with a value of $91,800 in accordance with the Tennessee State and Local Cybersecurity Grant Program.
Commissioner Highlander make the motion. Commissioner Smith seconds the motion. Lee, this was a late grant that you were offered last week. Is that correct? And we've got till Sunday to apply for it?
Basically, yes, that is why it's got to be put on the recessed agenda. This is just a standard, it's the second year of basically a federal pass-through grant through the state to help us address cybersecurity concerns and risks with our network. So it requires a $6,900 match. It's something we definitely need to be doing.
But we
And
got till Sunday to apply for that.
we got an email last Friday, August 22nd, saying, here's your contract. It's got to be back to the state by September 1.
Okay. Okay. All right. Commissioner Mackey?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we are definitely wanting to pursue this money, but why such a short turnaround?
I think Lee just explained it. The state just sent the email on the 22nd and says you got till September 1st. Why would they give us that short of a notice, you think, Lee?
I really don't know, because this is supposed to be a long-term initiative. It's a federal initiative started last year to basically pass monies down through the states to local governments to address cybersecurity. It was always known we would be getting it, but again, we were surprised by the email dated August 22nd saying it's got to be back by September 1. I do not know why the late notice from the state.
Thank you, Chair, but I'm sure he'll get it in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, see no more lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Beck? Mr. Chauncey?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes?
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman Eversole.
Yes, 825-36 passes. We have 3 zoning that was held over till today. 825-37, we'll read those individually. 825-37, if you'll read the record.
Resolution 825-37, a resolution to amend condition number 1 from Hamilton County Resolution number 324-30B of previous case number 2024-0028 for property located at 9101 Amos Road, previously known as Resolution number 825-29.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Chauncey made the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Sharp seconds that motion. We have, who's going to come up and talk about this resolution? You want to bring up and talk? Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. Let's bring up, talk about it.
Remember, these were on the agenda last week, all 3 of these.
Name
These were
address.
Brian Schultz, RPA. These 3 were actually denied last week by this body, and they're brought back before this body. I think y'all voted last week to bring these back. So they're being back today. So this first case is to lift condition number 1 of ordinance or resolution number 324-30B. There's 11 conditions on this property. I won't save time. I'll go skip through all the things we heard a couple weeks ago. There's 11 conditions. The applicant's requesting to amend condition number 1 about road widening to add Amos Road to condition number 1. All other 9 conditions stay the same. There was some discussion about height that added some confusion to this last week. There is a condition in this resolution that says that R3 zone properties, it's limited to 3 stories. That condition is not changing. That's staying the same. The applicant went before Construction Board of Appeals and got a special permit to do a 50-story, a 50-foot high structure. That's not in this resolution. That resolution today still says 3 stories. So this in front of you today is only amending condition number 1 to add Amos Road. All other 9 conditions are staying the same. I'll answer any questions y'all may have.
Commissioner Highlander?
Okay, so no matter what we do, the 50-foot is already approved. Is that correct?
My understanding by Construction Board of Appeals, they approved a 50-foot high building. This condition in front of you today says 3 stories.
Now, I'm not sure if this is a question for you, Mr. Janeway, or possibly Mr. Price, but the widening of Amos Road and the widening, this is not involved the straightening out and the widening of Snow Hill Road. It's only of Amos Road. Is that correct?
Well, the condition says, the current condition, developer shall dedicate 10 feet of right-of-way along the entire frontage of the development fronting Snow Hill Road. It doesn't mention Amos Road, so the applicant's wishing to add Amos Road. Now, your question about straightening out the road, I can't answer that. Maybe the applicant can answer that if that's what that does. So that's why this condition, this amendment's in front of you to lift that, or amend that condition to add Amos Road as part of that dedication.
Okay.
All the other conditions, 9 through 11, are staying the same. 2 through 11 are staying the same.
May I ask Mr. Janeway a question, Chairman?
Sure.
Mr. Janeway, would your office know by any chance how much right of way we have on Amos Road? Do we have enough to widen it without this amendment?
My understanding is that we have 50 feet of right of way on Amos and Snow Hill. We went back and looked at deeds this week, and it appears that we have 50 feet on both roads, but I don't know that this condition is really just requiring the applicant to widen the road. I don't know that it has anything to do with the actual right of way.
Okay. So on this, as it stands now, they have no obligation to widen Amos Road.
That's my understanding.
How about Snow Hill Road? Do they have an obligation to widen Snow Hill?
Brian could probably correct the record on that, but I believe that was conditioned.
I'll read the condition again. Developer shall dedicate 10 feet of right-of-way. Doesn't say anything about improve, it says dedicate 10 foot of right-of-way along the entire frontage of the development fronting Snow Hill Road. This condition amending it will add Amos Road to
Okay,
that. So
now this will be a condition that it must be widened?
the way
Can
I'm
we
reading
make
it,
that a condition?
if this body wants to add that as a correction to that condition, you could. Right now, it just says you got to dedicate 10 feet of right-of-way along Snow Hill, and if this is approved, along Amos Road. It doesn't say anything about improvements. I think that's the intention behind it, is to make improvements.
I
and
think it
widen
is the
but-
intention behind it, and I appreciate the intention behind it, but I think it's essential that the road be improved.
Correct.
It's essential. So I would, Mr. Chairman, do I need to make an amendment to add this as a condition?
Let's do this. I'd like for Ms. Barnell,
Okay.
as our county attorney, to interject into this, because these items were actually on our agenda last week, and we actually voted on these items. So
Yes, it was just brought to my attention. There is a rule in the commission's rules that you can reconsider your actions on a resolution. However, these are zoning matters. And so I'd actually like to ask Mr. Schultz, isn't it true in your zoning regulations that when a zoning application is denied, that the applicant has to wait a year to bring them back?
That's correct. That's in the zoning code.
So then can the commission even act on this today?
I'll defer to you.
Okay, so
You're the
per
lead-
the
I-
zoning regulations,
Per the zoning code, if it's denied by this body, you have to wait a year to come back for any action on that same piece of property.
then my recommendation would be that this is not properly before the commission today.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
I do want to clarify that. We are in the same meeting. And this body chose to bring it back, not the applicant. That is completely fine. We have the authority to do that. So I believe we can hear this case.
Okay.
Good.
Commissioner Highland? you-
May I ask the applicant if he would be willing to make that a condition?
Go ahead.
Sir, would you address that, please?
Mike Price, MAP Engineers, Chattanooga, Tennessee. We gave to this commission last week a plan that showed the road widening, which included Amos Road. So we plan to adhere to that plan. If you want to make that a condition that it basically mimic that plan, I have no objection to that whatsoever. Again, that was part of the intent in bringing this before the body, and somehow we got turned all sorts of sideways in different directions in discussing items that somehow derailed the whole process, where we're just trying to do the right thing as it relates to that work.
So, so you have no objection to making it a condition that both Snow Hill and Amos are widened?
Per the plan of what we have submitted and what we worked out with the school system, yes.
So, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Mackey?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I can appreciate making these rural roads make them wider. But I just wonder if we're going to apply that same principle to the roads in the city of Chattanooga. For example, coming across the Market Street Bridge, it's very tight and feels dangerous because, the vehicles out here now, they're big and wide. And, if we start widening wanting to widen every road before we do anything, we're going to have to shut this city down. I don't know if you all drive across the bridge, Market Street Bridge, but it does not feel safe at all. And so my basic statement is you're slowing down the developers because of these roads being tight. And you already know these cities are raising taxes already. And I just wonder if the people you're representing, will they tell you, yeah, raise my taxes? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Mackey. You bring up an excellent point. I think when there's zoning cases in the city of Chattanooga, I would encourage that the county commission come down and get involved in those conversations. The Market Street Bridge, I think that's a state highway or state bridge, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe that could be put in there, Brian, that if we're doing projects around the Market Street Bridge, maybe we get with the state and say, hey, you need to widen that bridge because it does get congested at times. So,
Tight.
and it's tight across there. So good point. Commissioner Baker?
Yeah, I love Commissioner Mackey's point because I was on it yesterday and I always space myself with the car next to me so that
Exactly.
it is tight. It is tight. I guarantee you. Brooke, so last meeting when we denied this, and then why were we bringing it back up again? Do you have the minutes on that? Can you, I'm not real sure why I guess, did we decide on that? Bring it back?
Let me pull the minutes up. Give me just a
Okay,
minute.
would you please? Yeah, because I thought it was denied last week. I'll reserve my time till she
Okay.
gets it.
All right. Commissioner Chauncey?
Thank you, Chairman. I was just going to try to shed some light on the events that took place last week. So yeah, if there was confusion there, I thought maybe there wasn't. After we did vote it down, I believe the applicant came back up and kind of made us all realize that we weren't going to be able to make any improvements to the road like they agreed on. And I had asked
Since I was not on the prevailing side of the vote, I had asked if anyone who was, if they would consider making a motion to reconsider. And then we discussed it, and then they asked to put it back on the recess meeting instead of reconsidering it last week. So that's what brought us here. So I don't know how else to better explain it.
Thanks, Chairman. Commissioner Highlander.
Thank you. I have another main point, but I will say, Dr. Mackey, I have driven across Market Street Bridge in my 1-ton dually, and I have said some silent prayers that I would not be sideswiped or be run in. So I certainly hope the state will do that. This particular place is a place where we have high school students converging, and we have had multiple accidents there, including a recent death not far beyond it. But we have had, it's a blind area, and when you've got 1,000 high school students driving out of that in a blind curve, it is an extremely dangerous situation. And it's not, a lot of people may think it's just simply a widening of the road for convenience. It is a very major safety issue. And that's the only reason that I would, would consider asking for that is, I will be honest, I'm selfish. I had a grandson that graduated there a couple of years ago, and I've got a grandson who is another one who is starting there this year. And I would like to see them, as we all know, the life of every young person is valuable to us, to all of us. And Mr. Price, if this resolution does not pass, does that mean that you will not be able to widen and make the road more safe? Is that correct?
Let me pass this diagram out for everyone to look at, which will maybe.
Could you answer my question when you get a time?
Yeah, so you all know me. I come before this body quite a bit. Do you think I would have gone through the brain damage to have brought this back up to ask for an amendment if I didn't have to? And the answer is no.
Okay.
Because we needed, and I have mentioned to you previously in times past, that we were going to have to do a land swap with the Hydes. That necessitates, because it's a PUD, if you change the outer boundary in any way, shape, form, or fashion, then you must bring this back before the commission for approval. Thus, we worked out a deal with the Hydes to do a land swap. They're going to dedicate right away along Snow Hill Road, which allows us to complete Snow Hill Road across our entire frontage, but also theirs, as well as doing the road widening where we tie it back into Amos Road. So it's all tied to this. If you don't allow this to happen, then that portion we just won't be able to accommodate in the way that we had hoped.
Well, I mean, I made the recommendation to you of a land swap early on. I don't know if you remember that or not, but I did. So I appreciate your diligence in trying to go through and trying to look at the safety aspects of it. So in other words, if we don't pass this resolution, you will not be able to widen the roads. Is that correct?
Not to the full extent that we had intended to do. We can do some. We can do basically north and south, but you're going to have this middle gap. And the middle gap is the most critical in my mind because we're providing a turn lane to get into the high school that presently does not exist. So people that are going to the school in the mornings, if they're held up, as you know, it backs traffic up. So this should address that entire situation where we're creating a 3-lane section of Snow Hill Road through here. So
I tell you what, I'm more concerned than the backup in the morning. I'm more concerned of the young people leaving in that blind curve where they pull out of the high school.
and that's why we're moving the entrance further down Amos Road
Right.
to avoid that situation. So again, everything that we are doing ought to check every box, whether you're anti-growth or not, or if you're pro-growth, it checks every box. So as I would see it, you may not like the development, but I don't see a reason that you could vote against this when we're achieving the things that we have said all along we wanted to do.
And so we will have a full turn lane, the full length of Snow Hill Road in this property, correct?
There is 3-lane section with what we're creating through there. That is correct. Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Madam Clerk, did you have reply for Commissioner Baker?
I do, Chairman. It's pretty much what Mike Price is saying. He basically stated that due to the vote taken on resolutions 825-29 through 825-31, the vote taken on Thrive Development, they would no longer implement some of the improvements on Snow Hill Road and Amos Road. He noted that the commission's actions have a negative consequence in relation to the community and its expectations. Commissioner Highlander stated he'd be willing to reconsider the improvements on the road if they can be separated in next week's recess meeting. Chairman Eversol, you asked that all three resolutions be added to today's agenda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Price, clarifying question. You were asked if we do not pass this resolution, and I got the answer. Yet you will not do the upgrades or the improvements as expected if this does not pass. There are three in front of us. Do all three need to be passed to do the improvements, or just the one in question at this time?
So there are three resolutions. One, and Ron can correct me, but one is to abandon the existing PUD. That has to be done. Two, we have to amend the boundary of the PUD. And three was to amend the condition to add the right-of-way, which again, we put as a self-condition to help complete the actions that we have said we would do with the road. So all three.
All three have
Yeah,
to go.
nothing-
I just want to be clear. You
Yeah.
were asked if this resolution, but the answer is all three
All three.
need to pass. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
We did
We bundle them then?
We did last week, and we bundled these last week, and that's why we said this week we'd do them separately, so.
Okay.
You just said they got it.
Yeah. Kind of like a hostage situation, seems like. Commissioner Graham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure if my question's for Mike Price or for Nathan Janaway, but if I understand this correctly, and I think that I do, the improvements won't happen if we don't pass the resolutions. But the one I had that question, but my other question is at whose expense? Who's paying for the widening of the road? Who's paying for all these improvements?
The developer is paying for all expenses. There's no county participation in the cost whatsoever.
So we can get this road improved with a turning lane by the school that makes conditions tremendously better at no expense to the county.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, see no more lights. We do have opposition, so we'll come to the mic. You'll have 3 minutes. Time will begin when you give your name and address.
Kim Helton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. In light of these revelations about the roads not being improved, if this was not approved, we're asking, because when this flood plan was presented to the community, there were no changes made based on community feedback. So we're asking for some conditions to be placed on it. First, for a condition to, as Commissioner Highlander said, I'm sorry, not to say, as one of the commissioners stated, condition to the road improvements in the resolution that are titled roadway improvements plan. In addition to those road improvements, condition to right turn lanes at both entrances. The traffic data for this PUD was collected in 2024 of January of 2024. That was 19 months ago. And there have been many houses added to Snow Hill Road and many more to come. The single-family detached homes have doubled in this new PUD plan. Single-family detached homes generate more traffic. You have two pictures of the blind spots leading to both of those entrances on Snow Hill Road. These are very dangerous areas with numerous wrecks and fatalities. We're also questioning the new entrance located on Amos Road instead of a straight entrance into the PUD, because traffic will have to complete a 90-degree turn. So we're wondering if large trucks delivering supplies will be able to travel on Amos Road to get to that entrance. Instead, they might be coming onto Snow Hill Road. The original height of the PUD was limited to 3 stories, but there was no feet limit. Mr. Price went to the Board of Zoning Appeals and received a height limit of 50 feet for a 3-story building. In that meeting, an assumption was made that the height of the building at the facility was limited to 3 stories, 42 feet, 50 feet. But the height was actually limited to 3 stories, 42 feet. A 52-foot tall building would be the highest building in this area. No other buildings are that high, even on the main road, Mountain View Road. A facility A two-story rehab facility came before the Planning Commission in July, and the Planning Commission recommended that two-story facility be limited to 2.5 stories, 35 feet. So we're asking that you condition it to 42 feet or the 44 feet that we were told in an email, which I have exchanged with Mr. Price. This also doesn't meet the conditions for the R3 PUD zone. The conditions are a limit of 24 max density per acre. This is 24.63. So we have those conditions to condition it to the road improvements, add turn lanes at both entrances on Snow Hill Road. And the center lane does not extend all the way to the second entrance. It's only the first entrance. So we would at least like to ask that there be 2 right turn lanes. Both of those lead up to blind spots. So we would like to ask that be added as well. And that the height be conditioned to 42 or 44 feet, and that it meets the zoning requirements. The density, max density is 24 feet. Thank you.
Commissioner Mackey?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to ask my colleague, he knows these people much better than I. If you put a building up that's 50 feet tall, as opposed to 49, what difference does it make?
May I answer, Chairman? Sure. The answer would be, if it's 42 feet, it would be 8 feet difference. If it's 44 feet, it would be 6 feet.
Oh, well, I get that part. Yeah.
That's all I know to say.
Yeah.
It would be, I'm not trying to be silly, but.
Well, it is,
just seems
it
kinda
is silly.
It is, but that's all I know to say.
It is silly, yeah. So why not let them, well, let me say it a different way. Signal Mountain raised their taxes. Saudi Daisy raised their taxes. Excuse me? Look out. Are they going to support you when you want to raise taxes?
I did not realize that I had requested a raise of taxes, but.
Well, you know, prices for running government is not going to go down. You have no choices.
Gentlemen, let's not debate. Let's.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
I did have a couple of questions, but.
You get the mic, Commissioner Howland.
Okay. Brian, if I could, Mr. Schultz, does this body, and this may be an attorney question, I'm not sure. Do we have the authority to condition a 44-foot building when the when the zoning appeals is already approved for 50?
I believe you do. I defer to city county attorney, but yes, I think this body can place conditions on any piece of property they so choose.
We can put those conditions even after
Yes, you can.
those. Okay. I was not aware that we had that legal power to do that. Okay, the second question I have, Mr. Price, would you be willing to make 2 right-hand entrances on Snow Hill Road, which would increase safety? The second entrance, which is not open right now, it's my understanding, is very near where the young man died. I mean, almost at the point where the young man died recently. In his honor, I would love to see 2 entrances.
So there are 2 entrances on Snow
On Snow Hill?
There are 2 entrances on Snow Hill Road, one on Amos. We did a traffic study. The traffic study was submitted to the county, and that's what the plan presented reflects.
I guess what I'm trying to say, right turn lane is what I should say.
Yeah, I don't know that a right turn lane is warranted, but again, what we are now required to do is it relates, again, taking zoning out of the discussion. A development has to do a traffic study, and the traffic study then comes back and says, based on the numbers, and they look at growth, what that's a turn. I don't remember what's in the traffic studies that relates to a right turn. If it's in there that it's a requirement, we'll certainly do it. But I don't see just putting in right turn lanes for the sake of putting in right turn lanes necessarily being a good engineering or good planning decision.
But we looked up the road, and I don't think you were involved, at a subdivision up the road that did not have a proper right turn lane. The studies showed that they did not need it, and I saw 3 near head-on collisions, and when our county engineer, good man that he is, came and looked at it, he agreed and had them changed. So Traffic studies are
Sweetbriar?
not always correct.
Is that Sweetbriar?
Yes.
Well, given what they did, that was an abomination
Yeah.
of,
But their traffic study showed that they did what was necessary. And on paper, but I'm saying a right turn lane where that young man died would be very helpful.
I think a right turn lane at the main entrance might make sense, but at the secondary entrance, I don't know that it would make sense there because that's where your primary turning movements would occur, is the one closest to the school. The second one, which is a secondary entrance further north, I don't know that that would be one that would require a right turn lane because if you're coming into the development, most likely you're going to come in with the first entrance, right?
Not necessarily. When you've got all the new single unit homes there, there will be a lot of people coming in there. And as you say, they're going to be a 55 or older community. They may not want to wait in line and back up traffic in front of the high school to turn in. I believe I can support this if we have a second right turn lane.
We'll agree to the right turn lanes. And if for a second, if I might, I'd like to pivot to this discussion of the height.
Pardon me?
The discussion of the height of the building, the three-story building. It's a statement was made that this will be the highest building. That's incorrect. We went out and we shot the high school gymnasium. The high school gymnasium, the height right now of the facade is 835. The flat roof is 828. At 50 feet, our building will be at 814. We'll be 20 feet below the high school gymnasium. This whole discussion about it's towering over and it's going to create this terrible scenic situation is totally unfounded. And I would say this, Mr. Highlander. I told this body 44 feet. Now understand, going through the process, that's what we understood at the time was 44 feet. I didn't have to even disclose it. All I had to say was we're just doing a three-story building. But that's not the way I try to do business with this council or with city or any other body that deals with zoning. I try to present all the facts. I try to think ahead of what the issues are. I knew this would be an issue. I stated 44 feet. You have the email. Ms. Helton has the email. When we went before the construction board, we made certain Ms. Helton knew about it. If I was trying to do any shenanigans, why would I inform the opposition that we're going before the board? It then went through a public hearing process. 50 feet was in the new application that was approved. Explain to me how in any shape, form, or fashion I didn't do anything right because I informed every step along the way. I followed the necessary requirements. There was nothing that I did that was underhanded or under the table. So the 50 feet and the height and given the location, it does not tower over. It's below the high school gymnasium by 20 feet. So it's not creating the problem. 6 feet is not creating the problem that everybody seems to center on as it relates to the opposition.
I can compromise my vote with the 6 feet if we have a second right turn lane.
And I think
If
we've
you
got to,
condition that.
and I think we're in agreement.
Is that, pardon me? You 2 right turn lanes?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
You got to doing the form. You got to do this form as a motion.
I will do that in the form of a motion then.
Thank you.
All right. So motion by Highlander. Second by Commissioner Graham. And this motion is height being 44 feet? Or height being 50 feet
Just leaving
if
it.
we get 2
Leave it.
right-hand turn lanes. So it's the motion be adding for there to be 2 right-hand turn lanes, and that's it.
On Snow Hill Road, just to be perfectly clear on that.
Yes. Could we hear from the opposition if they have a comment on that before we vote?
If you called her up.
Ms. Helton?
Kim Helton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. Yes, I mean, we would much rather have the road improvements and the safety than the height limit. And I think that if you could condition it to these road improvements that is shown here and adding the 2 right turn lanes, that would make it a lot safer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
She agrees with me.
She agrees. So I see no more lights. So let me ask this body a question, since so as we do this amendment, we're amending resolution 82537 that there'll be 2 right-hand turns lanes on Snow Hill Road. That's the amendment. So with no more lights, no one standing, Mr. Clerk will do roll call.
Mr. Baker?
Well, I was a no, now I'm a yes. Yes.
Yes. Mr. Beck? Mr. Chauncey?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Repeating, Mr. Baker, I was a no, but now, thanks to Mr. Mike's improvements, I'll say yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, so the amendment passes. Then we go back to the original. At this point, that was my question. At this point, if this body is okay, Commissioner Highlander is okay, can we bundle the 3 together at this point? Any objection?
Well, you already have a motion, sir, on 37.
Okay.
Just 2 more.
All right, so we'll bundle when we do the next 2, we'll bundle them together then, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're at
Thank
825-37 as amended. Roll call, please.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Beck? Mr. Chauncey?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, resolution 825-37 passes.
And we can get a new resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I will get that this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. So we can go ahead then and we'll bundle 825-38 and 825-39.
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk?
Resolution 825-38, a resolution to rezone from R1 Single Family Residential District, R3 Multifamily Residential District, and C5 Neighborhood Commercial District with conditions to A1 Agricultural District, R1 Single Family Residential District, R3 Multifamily Residential District, and C5 Neighborhood Commercial District with conditions for property located at 9101 Amos Road, previously known as Resolution Number 825-30. Resolution 825-39, a resolution granting an amendment to a residential plan unit development as approved by Hamilton County Resolution Number 324-31 of previous case number 2024-0029 for parts of a property located at 9101 Amos Road, previously known as Resolution Number 825-31.
Commissioner Chauncey made the motion. Commissioner Beck seconds that motion. Okay. Mr. Bryan?
Mr. Chairman, since, don't want to cause any more confusion, but 37 was actually amended on one of those conditions. Those same conditions are carried over to 38, so we'll need to amend, this body will need to amend that condition to add the 2 right-hand turn lanes.
Okay. So who would make the motion to
I'll
amend?
make the motion to amend 38 in the same manner as we did 37.
It'd be amend 39 as well, or just 38?
Just 38. 39 is okay. That's just a PUD amendment.
Okay.
Well, we got a problem there.
So Commissioner Highlander made the motion to amend 825-38. Do we need a second? Okay, Commissioner Graham seconds that motion. See no lights, no one standing, roll call.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Beck?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman Eversole?
Yes. So the amendment for 825-38 passed. Now we need to pass both as amended. So Commissioner Chauncey made the motion. Commissioner Beck seconded that motion. So Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman Eversole?
Yes. 825-38 passes as amended.
I do have a correction, Chairman. The roll call that we just called was, the original motion was to adopt 38 and 39, and we only amended 38.
Yeah.
So we need to do two separate roll calls.
Okay. So we just, 825-38 passes as amended.
The roll call we just did was a motion to adopt 38 and 39 as amended, and that's not accurate.
Okay.
We need to do two roll calls now. One to adopt 825-38 as amended, and one just to adopt 825-39.
Correct. So we'll do a roll call to adopt 825-38 as
As amended.
amended.
And then
Period.
just 39.
Period.
Yeah, okay. We'll need to get a motion in a second.
Motion.
Go ahead.
No,
I
because
think
we
they've all
agreed to
been
bring it back.
reconsidered.
I like to make a motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Baker makes the motion. Commissioner Graham seconds that motion. And this is for 825-38 as amended, period. Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Beck,
Yes.
Mr. Chauncey,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Dr. Mackey.
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp.
Yes.
Mr. Shipley.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, so 825-38 passes as amended. 825-39 has already been read into the record. We need to read it again, Madam Clerk, so we can, no lights.
Move for approval.
Second.
So Baker makes the motion. Commissioner Highlander seconds that motion. No lights, no one standing. Roll call.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Beck.
Yes.
Mr. Chauncey.
Yes.
Mr. Graham.
Yes.
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Dr. Mackey.
Yes.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
Mr. Shipley.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, Jeff Edelson.
Yes. So 825-39 passes. I think we had before us today an event that's rarely seen at the commission meeting, and that is some salesman being done by Commissioner Hollander and Ms. Helton. Good job.
And thank you all for your patience through the process.
Thank you. Okay, we will now adjourn recess meeting and we'll move into the agenda session. So Mr. Clerk, roll call, please. He is here, stepped away.
Mr. Beck.
Here.
Mr. Chauncey.
Here.
Mr. Graham.
Here.
Mr. Hilton, absent. Dr. Highlander.
Here.
Dr. Mackey.
Here.
Mr. Sharp.
Here.
Mr. Shipley.
Here.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Eversole.
Here. We have no presentations on the agenda today. For next week, we'll be looking at entering the minutes for the recess meeting on August 13, 2025, the agenda session August 13, 2025, and the regular meeting of August the 20th, 25. We'll also be looking at entering no reports into the record. With that, we'll move into resolutions. We'll begin with Resolution 925-1. So Madam Clerk, if you'll read the captions.
Resolution 925-1, a resolution to approve and accept applications for notary public positions and the bonds and oaths of notaries previously elected.
Okay, see no lights, no one standing for comment. We'll take this up next week, 925-2.
Resolution 925-2, a resolution making an appropriation to Bakewell Community Center in the amount of $1,000 from general fund travel discretionary monies as allotted to District 1.
Okay. Mr. Shipley?
This money will go toward maintenance and helping keep this community center open. We've been able to do a lot for it and very appreciated from the people.
Okay. See no more lights, no one standing. We'll take this up next week, 925-3. Let's do that. This, Madam Clerk, let's look at, we'll look at 3 and 4, 925-3 and 925-4. Let's bundle those. They're the same.
Resolution 925-3, a resolution making an appropriation to Central High School in the amount of $500 from general fund travel discretionary monies as allotted to District 10. Resolution 925-4, a resolution making an appropriation to Central High School in the amount of $500 from general fund travel discretionary monies as allotted to District 9.
Commissioner Highlander.
Thank you. The chairman and I share two high schools pretty much, Central and Ooltewah. We work together closely, and he brought to my attention the fact that the girls' soccer team was in dire need of some uniforms. I appreciate his doing this, and it is our honor, mine and his, to meet the needs of the school with some of our travel money. And so I'm willing to, even if I have to pay for some of my own driving, I'm willing to do that to help these folks out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Chauncey.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner Highlander. You know what? Central
your alma
High School,
mater.
that's my alma mater. So I think I might just chip in on that if it'll make things a little bit easier for them. So if we can add another 500, be happy to do it.
Okay, we'll update the resolution. So that's $1,500, a good deal. Mr. Central, but we got a purple pounder there.
Class of 94.
All right, so we'll
Good days.
update the resolution and we'll vote on 925, 3 and 4 next week. Madam Clerk, let's go to 925-5.
Resolution 925-5, a resolution making an appropriation to the Soddy Daisy and Montlake Historical Association in the amount of $1,500 from general fund travel discretionary monies as allotted to District 1.
Okay, see no lights, no one standing. Commissioner?
I would like to comment on this. A little of this money will go toward maintenance of the building we have there. But $1,000 of this is gonna go to a big bronze plaque that will be placed in the historical building for Hubert Pickett, who received the Medal of Honor in Trump's first administration. He was a Soddy Daisy guy. He worked on our TVs, and we never knew much about him, but he was a real war hero, World War II, and that's where a lot of this will go.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Shipley. I see no more lights, no one standing. We'll take this up next week, 925-6.
Resolution 925-6, a resolution to reappoint 2 members to the Hamilton County Industrial Development Board to serve a 6-year term beginning September 3rd, 2025 and ending September 3rd, 2031. This will reappoint Reuben M. Taylor and Bill McCord.
Okay, see no lights, no one standing. Commissioner Beck, anything you want to add on this?
No, sir. We did vote for Reuben Taylor to be on that board, but he only completed just about 1 month of the previous person who passed away. So now he's got to be reappointed for this next session.
Okay, we will take this up next week. With that, that's all the committee as a whole. We do have 2 items that'll be on committee meetings, which will take effect immediately following this session. So we got 1 finance item, which will be immediately following our adjournment. Then we got building and economics item that will immediately follow that. With that, we'll move into announcements. Commissioner Shipley.
Thank you, Chairman. I have asked that we have the auditor here this morning, if you would come up. And are you David Floyd from Chattanooga Town? Okay. I want you to hear this too, real good. Number one, I am very disappointed in you that you could not contact me and tell me that I'd done something wrong. I do not feel I did anything wrong. I followed the guidelines when I swore in here in 2022 about my travel. I knew anything about this till about 2.5 months ago when the chairman contacted me and said he was coming down here to remove our mileage where we came to county commission meetings. That was all I knew. I was fine, told the chairman. I'm good. Doesn't bother me. I don't need the money to drive it. I did that because I use very little of my money. I don't need on it. I don't do anything other than if I have to go to a class or I give most of mine away. So I think you should have contacted me. Now, the first I knew is when Mr. Floyd contacted me on Monday wanting a news. I gave him all I knew. I backtracked yesterday to make sure that I hadn't done anything wrong. And I still don't think I did. So I brought you a check. $462 paid back what you said I owe Chattanooga.
I'll give this to Mr. Browner for a deposit.
And that check's made to Hamilton County Trustee. Now, I'm gonna ask you, are you the one that said we did wrong, or was it the audit committee?
During
Name and address, please.
Chris McCullough, County Auditor, 455 North Highland Park Avenue. During my audit, in my audit report, I pointed out that the mileage did not go along with the policy that was for the IRS regulations. So yes, during my audit, we determined that those mileage from the home to the commission meeting did not qualify for reimbursement.
And I'm fine.
Mr. Shipley, I do remember though, speaking to you, Mike Chauncey, Commissioner Chauncey, Commissioner Hilton, and Commissioner Eversole regarding that before this report was put out. Because I did talk to you on the phone regarding that.
Well, I don't remember the conversation. Now, I would take my papers in to Linda, go over it each time. I have no problem, and you're not buying my gas. I had a problem. I never knew till yesterday in the paper that I owed $462. Why didn't you pick the phone up and call me?
Yesterday in our audit committee letter, we were meeting yesterday to finalize a letter that would be sent to you and other commissioners that needed to pay back this amount for FY20 for fiscal calendar year 25. That letter was drafted up yesterday and was supposed to be submitted, but we didn't have time to finish it. It was approved today, and that was going to be hand delivered to you regarding that. And I'm sorry that came out in the newspaper before that letter was issued.
So before you give us a letter, you drug us to the Chattanooga Times for everybody to read.
Commissioner Shipley, I did not reach out to the Times Free Press for that audit. They reached out to me and asked me questions regarding that. When I distribute my report, it goes to each commissioner and the individuals listed on my report, and it's posted on the county website, open to public.
Well, will you do me a favor? The next time we do something wrong, contact me. I don't have a bit of trouble. And you, Mr. Floyd, do your work and make sure you're not printing something out of character to make us look bad when we didn't do anything wrong. And beyond that point, I'll have to call you fake news if you ever do it again. I'm done. I'm finished.
We have some lights. Other commissioners want to comment. So Commissioner Beck?
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question. You know, and this is not for you, Mr. McCullough, but I have two questions. Does the state get compensated for get mileage from leaving here, going back to work at the state level, do they get mileage? And number two, how long has this been going on? Can you do some research on that, Ms. Attorney? Can you do some research and find out for us how long we've been paying mileage for the county commissioners? And if in fact that it's past practice, then I think this check that he just handed you should be null and void. Because if we've been doing that all along, we can start today and say we're not going to do it anymore. But to go back and find something on somebody up here that's been going on a long, long time, and just this new audit committee or whoever, or new auditor or whoever is responsible for doing these checks and balances, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay, and it's okay if we've been doing wrong. But this, we're not. I don't think we need to try to make these commissioners reimburse the county, but to just start from day, we'll just start from today and say that okay, since we've been doing it all along, we're going to stop doing it, and today we're going to do something different. Can we do that? Can we find out first if we've been doing it all along? Second, if we find out that the state is also getting compensated, getting mileage, I don't think we should be any different from the state. So can we find out those two things?
I can probably answer a couple of those. We've got our administrator for the commission, which is Patricia, that handles all of the expenses. And Patricia, how long has this been going on as far as commissioners getting reimbursed from their travel? So Patricia Mitchell.
Yes, sir. Since I've been here for the past 16 years, we've been reimbursing the mileage.
Okay, so for 16 years, this has been going on.
Been
for
past
the county.
practice, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Second question you had as far as the state, my knowledge of the state is the state reimburses for travel. So
That's correct. It's in a statute. I have the statute pulled already. It's TCA 31106. And so it's statutorily authorized that state legislatures do get to charge for mileage.
Okay.
But there is no statute that allows that for county commissioners.
let me ask you this, Ms. Varnell. Is it okay if I ask her a question?
I'd like to keep, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep it open.
You'll have the mic. The IRS guidelines is their guidelines of what you can claim off on taxes. Is that correct? So when it says reimbursement,
Yes,
that's designed for an individual that has their own business typically, and that's them, maybe driving to an office that they got temporary set up or an office that's set up. That's their guidelines that the IRS says that you cannot get reimbursed for on your taxes, individual taxes.
correct.
So it doesn't necessarily say that they're governing county government. They're not governing state government. They're only saying these are the guidelines based on taxes that you can claim on your taxes.
Based on individuals who claim taxes, yes,
Right.
yes. However, in regards to the question at hand, the difference between state legislatures and others in government, the state legislature has authorized state legislatures to claim mileage based on a statute. I have been unable to find a statute that allows county commission, city council, anybody else to do that. So I can continue to research, see if I can find any authority that allows that, but I have been unable to locate it thus far.
Okay. Commissioner Beck?
That was part of my question about the city. I wondered if the city got mileage, the city of Chattanooga or any of the other cities around here, any municipalities get mileage for their functions on the
Okay.
in the government.
Commissioner Smith, could you had some experience with the city of Chattanooga?
They have approved expenses in the past, sir. I can't say if they still do or not.
Sir?
They have approved expenses in the past for travel, but I can't say that they still do. I'm not sure.
Okay. Can we find that out too while we're at it? But in the meantime, can I don't know if Commissioner Shipley would agree to it, but Mr. Chairman, you think he should get that check back until we get this settled?
Well, I reimbursed mine in July. So, I mean, it's,
See, there's another thing. Commissioner Eversole reimbursed his in July. I didn't know I needed to. Yet, his name come up in the paper too, as he continued to do it. He hadn't continued to do nothing, nor had I. But our name got brought up that we continued it, and we did not continue. Matter of fact, I had turned a worksheet in since it started. I hadn't turned nothing in. I knew about it, I believe it was end of June, maybe 1st July.
Mr. Chairman, I still.
I don't want the money. I appreciate Mr. Beck, but I don't want the money back.
Commissioner Shipley, there was also another name that came up in the paper at the same time, and that was a dead issue. There was no need to bring that issue back up that commissioner experienced. So I just think we just need to be a little kinder and a little gentler in the way that we deal with each other, deal with the media, deal with us, and the way we deal with our community and the way we deal with each other. Somebody said that this was a Christian nation. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Highlander.
I'd like to speak on behalf of the 5 who were, I'm not sure what the term would be, who were brought before the public. And I would like to publicly say that I endorse all of them for their character. And I think I'm echoing what Commissioner Beck said, that we do not feel that these people were in any grievous error. One thing that kind of comes to my mind, the 5 who were brought up all went through the same training at the same time. Am I correct, Chairman?
That is correct.
I'm wondering what they were told and by whom. I'm assuming they were probably told at that time that this was permissible. And maybe I'm wrong, but that when I went through that, I don't remember hearing yay or nay about it when I went through training. I could have been, and I missed it, but I'm assuming these 5 were probably told that was okay to do. Am I incorrect on
No,
that?
I can answer it for you. The 5 commissioners went through the same orientation. I guess 3 days in Murfreesboro, and then we had a half a day with HR here, and then another half a day with the attorney's office. Ms. Barnell was not there. But it was told. I mean, the exact words that were told to me is you don't get paid a lot. So you've got to make sure you're going to be using your vehicle to go different places. You're going to go to constituents, the meetings, and you'll put a lot of wear and tear on your vehicle. So turn your mileage in. That's what it's set up for, is your mileage. Number one is your travel expense. And examples were constituents, going to meetings, going to events, going to commissions. So even going to the commission, it was said to do that. So when I inquired with our executive administrator here, Patricia, that's the norm. That's been done all along. So, and those were conversations that I had with Mr. Chris, and has said, hey, this has been a normal practice, because I think, because I'm the one that asked Commissioner Baker to set up the audit team, and I'm proud of what the audit team's doing. I really am. I think you don't have a chance yet, but
Okay.
I think there's an opportunity, because in my intentions, and I've said this all along, the audit team is set there to is not, it never got you. And I've said this on the record many times. It's never to be a gotcha. It's never to be used as a political pawn. And I think that we've got both of it going on, to be honest with you. And that's just my words. But I would hope, in my previous experience, if you've got a one-off, it's an individual, you got to dig a little deeper, but an auditor is to find out why. You don't have a badge to give someone a ticket. You've got an obligation for the citizens of Hamilton County to find out why. And I think you and I had this conversation, and we had a strong conversation about it, is if you got 5 people doing something wrong, you've got a procedural issue. You don't have an individual issue. You got a procedural issue. And we needed, and if you remember back in June when you and I had this first conversation was if you got 5, which is almost half the commission, you've got a procedural issue. There's something we need to update, like a policy, a procedure. And you said, well, it's your conversation with me is what's in the IRS guidelines. Well, if you pull the IRS guidelines, you see how thick it is? You expect a plumber by trade, a teacher by trade, a real estate agent by trade, a retired farmer by trade, okay? You expect all of these backgrounds to be able to read and understand and get the same guidelines? I don't think so. I think if that was the case, the good Holy Bible, we would have one religion and not many different religions because it's interpretation. Your job as an auditor, and let me be clear, your job as an auditor is to find things going on. That's number one. Number 2 is find out why it's going on and then help come up with a solution. Your job is to give a solution to it. And if you've got a one-off and you feel like it's a one-off, then you get with the county attorney, then let's find out a reason. Let's get it solved. However it needs to be solved. But if it's got that many, that there's a procedural issue. And I think we had that conversation. So you still got the mic, but yeah, mine's been reimbursed back in July, and I don't want to take this away from the program itself. I think we've got to understand roles and responsibilities in it. So Commissioner Holler.
Thank you, Chairman. And I appreciate your work. I mean, what you do is very important.
Yes, sir.
And you do a great job of it. And I think we all appreciate that. That would be nice to have this. I've got a question for you. I've dealt with churches quite a bit through the years, and I know even a minister coming cannot claim his mileage from his home to the church. But once he comes to the church, he can start his mileage going for visitation, to a hospital visit, or whatever. And I'm fully aware of that. I am very blessed that the county allowed me to use in the Harrison Community Center. They've let me establish a little office. I meet people there, and quite often I stop on my way in the morning. Now, I do not plan to ask for mileage reimbursement for coming to commission. I have not, and I do not plan to. But technically, by the way I understand the law, if I go to my office at Harrison Community Center, I could legally claim the mileage.
That is correct.
And how about at some of the commissioners have an office, they go from their bedroom to their office in their home, do their commission work, and then drive in. Would there be, I'm just hypothetically, and I was going to ask our attorney, but what do you think, would that be legal as well?
Actually, let me explain that, because when you are working at a location, you are meeting constituents, you're doing emails, phone calls, you're meeting them there at that location. That is an established office.
Okay.
If you have an office within the home, you're you're not meeting constituents there in your home. It's a little different.
Well,
you're also as a county elected commission, in the handbook and in regulation 3401C states that officials and elected officials are employees of their organization. So when you look at publication 587, you go through that flow chart, and an employee does not get qualification for home office. So therefore, driving from your home office to the commission meeting is not a reimbursable expense.
Okay. We are county employees. We are not, even though by state statute we're set up. We are employees.
You're an elected official, and according to the Hamilton County Employee Handbook and the IRS Code 3401C, you're an employee.
Thank you. you've cleared some things up. And I'll say again, I am not picking at you. I very much appreciate the fine job that you do. I very much do. I do think, I appreciate what Commissioner Shipley said too. I think that when you do see that if I'm in error, I would very much appreciate being told. You know, I hope and pray I don't get in error, but if I do, I trust that you will come to me and tell me. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Sharp.
Thank you, Chairman. I just had a couple of questions. I think you pretty much said what I thought for the most part. And if I missed something here, and I'm a little scrambled with all of this, I'm honestly, I'm in disbelief that we would be talking about individual commissioners without the individual commissioners knowing about what they're going to be talked about. That makes no sense to me. I have a problem with that. I've always tried to operate under the process that if I have an issue with something that someone's doing for whatever reason, I'm going to address it with that individual. And if we don't get a response that's appropriate from that individual, then we're going to bring somebody else into that conversation. And if the appropriate response is still not there, then maybe we have a conversation publicly about it. I mean, I think that's just the right way to go about doing things. And so I'm bothered by this. Do we have, if I missed this, I apologize, but do we have a policy and or procedure as to what, where, and when it's appropriate for elected officials to expense public funds?
There is a policy, and that we met yesterday with the audit committee, and we are updating that policy with the county attorney's office. That will be brought to you in the next few weeks for your approval.
Yeah, so we have one currently.
We do have one currently.
I'd like to have a copy of that printed if I could, please. And I don't know if maybe that's something that ought to be run through the legal committee, honestly. I mean, it's this board's responsibility for policy. And I think this is a great example of you know, how ultimately it's the 11 of us that sit up here that are held accountable for what happens in the county. We're the ones that vote on it. We are the board of directors. Under law, this is where the buck stops. And, you know, when we have, you know, a bunch of political appointees running things without running it through this body, we'll end up with problems. And I think this is an example of that. I'm sure we're going to have opportunity to talk about that particular point at a later date. I guess I'll just leave it at that for right now, Chairman. I would like to see those policies. If I could have those today, that would be fantastic. And if there is any working papers as to how those may change, I would like to have a look at those as well. Chairman, thank you for the time.
Commissioner Mackey, you were next on the list.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to follow up on what the previous commissioner just commented on, policies and procedures. Is it our understanding in order to, say, be reimbursed, there's policies and procedures? Yes?
Yes, sir.
And when we have a receipt, do we take it to our administrator first and then they send it to finance to write the check?
No, sir, there's a gap.
And where's that gap?
That gap is it goes to the administrator. She keys it in and puts it on a special form. Then I get it.
Okay.
I get it to after Patricia goes through it. Patricia looks and follows the guidelines. And if there's any questions on guidelines, she gets with the individual commissioner to say, this is not the guidelines and so forth that's set forward. And then it comes to me and then I approve all expense vouchers.
And then it goes from you to where?
Patricia sends it to finance. Once I sign off, then Patricia sends it directly to finance.
So why didn't this get caught?
I guess it's because it was the norm. This was the normal practice for 16 years. At least this was the normal process of it.
May I ask Lee Browner a question?
Sure.
This business about travel for commissioners from home to work, how long has that been going on?
25 years or so at least, if not more.
It's getting
Wait. Say that
Yeah.
again.
Well, I mean, that's how we have historically reimbursed for travel expenses for commissioners
So we've been doing it for 25 years.
or so.
So, huh? They got you.
Hey, I ain't done yet.
You know, but it's wrong, Commissioner. It's wrong the way, last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a commissioner sitting over there and somebody from the audience personally attacked that man's character. And it seems this stuff has to stop. If it's for 25 plus years been going on. And we have policies and procedures to stop, to check it. Something ain't working. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Commissioner Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris, you're just doing your job. I get it. And Lee, the finance department, they're just doing their job. For the record, though, when I read the article yesterday, I mean, I didn't realize, you had brought to my attention a few months ago that I couldn't do that. I didn't know that there was actual amount of money that I had turned in. Turns out it was $290.38, if I remember correctly. And I carried a check to finance yesterday and paid that back. So in the future, if we make that mistake, just let us know. I'll be happy to do whatever I have to do to make it right. And Dr. Ware, we're almost there. I promise. We're almost there. Thank you.
Commissioner Beck.
Briefly, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, and I don't call commissioners' names up here, but Commissioner Sharp laid out and the first time I ever heard of this principle, way of doing things, was from the Bible. So that, Commissioner Sharp, that is a biblical principle to, if somebody's doing wrong, then you go to them, and if they don't hear you, then you take a second person with you. And then if they don't hear both of you, then it goes to the public. So that's a principle that we wish we could live by. And so that's all I have on that.
Okay. Commissioner Sharp.
Thank you, Chairman. I had to step out for a minute, and I overheard on our speakers in the back. For those of you that don't know, we have speakers in the back. We can hear everything that's going on out here. That this activity of expensing mileage has been going on for 25 years, 25 plus years. That begs the question to me, what initiated this investigation? Chairman, may I ask, how did this investigation get started?
Well, this was part of our discretionary fund audit, and in the previous past, we've looked at funds that were given to nonprofit organizations. We've expanded that in 2022 or 2023 when we did the previous audit. There were things that were found. And then, so we looked at the mileage. We've never looked at the mileage reimbursement. We do that also for travel expenses.
Who is we, by the way, Matt?
The internal audit.
So those are county employees?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we looked at we should do for travel, like outside travel for employees, for county employees. We look at those, making sure that they're, reasonable, but also reimbursing the right rate, because the rate changes year to year by the IRS regulations. So we looked at the discretionary funds travel this time. We never looked at it in the past. And when it says, according to, in the policy, it says according to IRS regulations. Those regulations actually changed in 2017 that previously allowed an employee to take on a Schedule A with 2% of your adjusted income, a deduction if you didn't get reimbursed for mileage. You were able to claim that. In 2017, that changed. So the information that was provided, even in 18, 19, 20, 21, all of that was incorrect. It should have changed during that time. So we looked at it and we said, okay, those mileage from the home to the commission meeting does not qualify because that is considered your travel to your place of work. That's what the commission is, where you make decisions, where you make discussions here. And so that's the theory behind it. And you look at the examples for other county employees that may have to work from home, but they come into meetings at their office building. They don't get the mileage from their home, even though they work from home a lot. And they
Okay,
don't.
I understand. So this wasn't from the tip?
No,
It wasn't
it was
from a
not
tip?
from a tip.
Because
It was just.
I felt like I heard you say that
No, it was not
in
from.
the back one day. You didn't say that?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. We were looking
curious.
at the total mileage. We have, looking at the other expenses too. But all the discretionary funds spent for that, for each of the 15,000 that was done.
Okay.
So we've never looked at the mileage, and that's where it came in.
So does this same policy apply to others who have county vehicles and that
Look,
travel
they don't
to and
ask
from
for,
us?
county vehicles do not ask for reimbursement.
Have P cards for fuel?
Fuel, they only can use P card for fuel if they have a rental vehicle,
Okay.
but otherwise they use the fuel card for county vehicles.
Okay. So I have some more thoughts on that I want to put
The
together.
only time that there is mileage reimbursement is if, for example, if I go out to a training, I went to Nashville for ACFE training for my certifications. It's part of my job, a certified fraud examiner. And so my mileage, because I drive my own personal car, I drove to Nashville and back.
Mr. McCullough, is there a policy or procedure change that we're going to implement soon?
Yes, we were just discussing that yesterday with the audit committee. And
The audit committee met yesterday?
we met yesterday.
Okay.
With the county attorney, we're writing up procedures, new guidelines for that.
But you didn't bring recommendations to the committee. They're still in process, I guess. That's what you're going to give me here in a bit.
May I, Chairman? At the audit committee meeting yesterday, it was a public meeting, and we discussed openly the changes that were going to be made to the discretionary funds policy. There's a diagram that's going to be attached. Those have been modified over the course of the last few hours. And the hope is that they will be presented on the agenda session on the 10th of September.
So just as a point of clarity, changes that are going to be recommended, right? Because this board has to adopt policy changes, right?
Correct. Presented to the commission for
Okay.
recommendation. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's it, Chairman. Thank you.
Let me follow up on that. Is the legal committee involved in that? Because that should be a responsibility, I think, Commissioner Graham, of the legal committee. Would you agree? So, because the legal committee is the body of this group here that's responsible to help pull this group together. So I would recommend that we get the legal committee involved in that as well. So,
If that's the will of the commission, that's fine. I think the thinking was the audit committee handled it. So, but if that's the
Okay.
preference, then we can.
I think it is, because I think there's a lot of clarification that's needed to be made. I'll give you one. There was a comment made that a commissioner goes to a grand opening. It's not, they can't be compensated for travel going to a grand opening. I totally disagree with that because I think my first comment when I go to a grand opening is that organization or business, the first thing I say is thank you for investing in Hamilton County. Thank you for hiring people from Hamilton County and helping us improve our tax base and so we can continue to offer services. So, but I think that's a very important part of it. Okay, Commissioner Shipley.
I'll be brief. What I'd like for you to do, and I think I'd speak for about everybody, you owe us an apology. So get with Mr. Floyd, those little red lights up there on the top, and let them know that we were unaware of some of that was going on and that we have paid the money back and clear our names for something that had went on over 25 years. And I'm not a grudge holder. When I leave here today, I will have it off my chest. But I'm not one to take stuff like I had to take yesterday when I had people to call me on the phone. Hey, Gino, are you in trouble? No, I'm not in no trouble. I didn't do nothing wrong. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, I sit on the audit committee, and I agree with everything I've heard up here. Starting with Mr. Commissioner Beck, where's the kindness, the support? Where's the communication? Where's the feedback? And so, Commissioner Sharp, I don't recall when you and I came on at the same time going through this, given any orientation onto this. I mean, it could have been lumped in with everything else, but the importance of it. But I don't recall it, and I don't claim mileage because it's a pain in the butt, frankly. This is the second thing that's come up with our audit committee. The first was our checks. Remember the checks? We would give checks, take the check over to, like I did to Signal Mountain Girls Track Club because they won the state. And I'd gotten approval from Vonda and Lee's office, and I got called out on it. I had no idea. So then Chairman got us these cheap plastic checks. They're cheap, so I got my own. But, and frankly, they look better in a picture. The point is, tell us if we're off base, if we're not doing the right thing. Be kind to us. I mean, let us know. That's the human way. So there's two things that have come up. And I guess my question on this, when this mileage thing came up, was we spend millions with Amazon. And like even with the P cards, I remember somebody using super unleaded and they were supposed to use unleaded. Did they have to pay for the difference? I don't think so. And so I guess, what's funny is this month in my class, I teach accountability. And they talk about two things. One is the process and the other is accountability. And if both aren't there, what do you start with? The process, the procedure. You fix the procedure first, and then you can hold people accountable. So it really, of all the things that we've got going in this $1.1 billion operation, and you're Commissioner Shipley, 460, and you're 260 or whatever, and you're whatever it was. That's the most important of all the things going on here. And I have a problem with that. And I didn't voice that yesterday. I said, keep it simple, get the process right. It was supposed to come here the 9th, I guess. It's the 10th. Is that the date? It's coming here? September? Okay. But, fix the process, communicate. And, it just, of all the things in the world, I just don't get why that's like the topic when it could be an easy fix by being kind, by being helpful, by being communicative, and just fixing things. Fix the process first and then hold people accountable. Thank you.
Okay, see no more lights. I've got one request, Commissioner Graham, if you would, as you all look at this, what you're going to introduce. Commissioner Sharp brought up an excellent point. there is, since this came up, I've been doing a lot of research, and if you do have a county vehicle, there are guidelines. If you take it home, from your home to your office, there are IRS guidelines. And those IRS guidelines basically state that you're taxed from your home to your office. And then from your office to another place, you're not. The county does pay for that fuel, but from your home to your office, if you got a county vehicle, you're actually taxed. So I know Mayor and I had this conversation a few months ago. We talked about maybe looking at doing some kind of app program to where the county vehicles, they kind of log their mileage in those apps, so they can do it with maintenance and so forth. I think it's a great idea. So Mr. McCullough, I'm proud of what you guys do. I think getting an audit committee was definitely the right thing to do, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. Giving you the ability to set alone was perfect. I don't ever disagree with that. I think that was set up great. I think we got to work on what we're finding. My biggest thing is in an audit, the easiest thing to do is find a problem. That's easy. Hardest thing to do is come up with a solution to fix it. So Mr. McCullough, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. In my audit report, I put recommendations based on what I find that are against policy that is already established. Then I look at what was actually happening. Then I make recommendations on, okay, here's what I found. Here's how we can correct it. Because I did state in my res there, I did point out these individuals need to either pay back or be added to your W-2 and make policy adjustments to be done internally. So I do try to make it improve for the future by what I find in our audits. And I have to report our finding based on policy that is currently happening. In P-card audits, we do the same thing. We make recommendations. We have sometimes reoccurring recommendations. We've actually had procurement create a violation form for the employees. And the employee is handed that violation form and will say, I did chaining an event and I should not be doing that based on the policy. So therefore, if that person is continue to have that violation, then there will be consequences for that individual. And those are also handed to HR. So we're changing or trying to improve where we are abiding by the policy that is established by the department or this body.
Okay. Just as a reminder, according to CTAS, we're not an employee of the county. I don't know if you knew that or not. We're an extension of the state elected by the local. And that's the reason, like the government, the training that HR sent out, we're not liable for that, to even do that for the county.
Okay,
So,
well, that's what I found according to the Human Resources Administrator and the handbook and IRS code.
okay. I think we follow this. We're bound by the state constitution. So sounds like it, but that's okay. That's okay. Everybody has their opinions. But here's what we'll do with this resolution. I think we just need to make sure that is clarified. So,
And hopefully we'll work with the legal and with the county attorney's office to make a simple diagram of what is acceptable reimbursement and what is not on the mileage.
okay. Commissioner Highland, do you have something else to add?
I just briefly wanted to commend Commissioner Beck for making the statement that he did. It's the best policy I've tried to follow in my life. If someone is in error, I try to go to them personally first. And then if the second step is to bring someone of record, of repute with you. Am I correct, sir? And then on the third time, then we go public. And that's a great policy to follow and for all of us. And I've tried to do that in my life. But thank you, Commissioner Beck, for bringing that Matthew 18 reference up.
Okay. Commissioner Mackey, one last comment.
Thank you, Chair. That seems to be a very important question to answer. Mr. McCullough say that. What did you say, who we report to?
You don't, there's no word reporting to. You're an employee. I'm just saying that you're being paid as an employee, W-2 employee. And the IRS states that if you receive, as a employee.
Mr. Chairman, the Tennessee Constitution create the basic framework for the county commission. And it is officially called the county legislative body. The state constitution mandate that each county has a commission. So our county attorney could probably clear that up. Will you?
I'll look into it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Commissioner Sharp, do you have something to add?
Chairman, I was done until I heard a comment about departments writing policy. It's this body's responsibility to set policy, period. Now, a department can draft policy, but this body adopts it. And until it is adopted by this body, it is not policy. I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Chris, do you have anything else to add?
Yes, I do. I respect your, comments regarding, coming for someone if you find a problem. And to all respect, Commissioner Shipley, you said that earlier that you stopped in June. What prompted you for that was our conversation that we did have, because I did talk to all the other commissioners, and I respect that. But I want to just point out that I did talk to you and the others regarding the mileage on that, from going from the home to the commission meeting.
Let's do this. Let's not go in a back and forth. I think
I
we've
just-
identified
but I
we've
respect
got an
that, but-
issue. I think we've identified that there was a gap. And I'll go back to this and we'll end this subject with this comment. Okay? Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what the audit team is bringing to the county. The whole intention is there for the taxpayers, so that we put accountability into the process. But the key is the process. Being an auditor, you're not a traffic cop. You don't cite. Your job is to help us find solutions so that we don't have losses. And during that process, there's times that you do need to get with the county attorney and say, hey, we've got a one-off here that I've addressed we can't get fixed. And that's where we take it to the next level. But I would just encourage you to make sure that that's the process that you're following. But not everybody up here is a tax expert.
I understand
Okay?
that.
All right. Now,
Yep.
you and I had that conversation
Yep.
several times, but just make sure that this body up here is, in my opinion, needs to be informed and needs to be educated on the issue. So it's about the process. You're the expert. So, okay.
All right.
All right. With that, we'll move on. Commissioner Baker.
No.
Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Mackey. Announcements. Commissioner Beck, any announcements? Commissioner Sharp, any announcements?
I have one announcement, Chairman, and I don't know if this is really an announcement, so to speak. I was thinking about talking about this some earlier today when I was coming into the meeting, and one of our colleagues mentioned in this meeting today that the life of every young person is valuable to us. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I would say that all lives are valuable. And these young people particularly that we are entrusted with their care in so many ways, their lives are valuable. And I would also say that their mental well-being is valuable. whether we agree with them on all things or not. I was really disappointed to learn that a long-standing memorandum of understanding with Centerstone was not approved by our school board recently. A few years ago, in our last term, I don't want to call out any names. You can take credit for it if you want, but one of our colleagues set up a meeting over at Erlanger Children's Hospital to talk about mental health issues in the youth in our community and how those struggles lead to permanent consequences in so many cases. And it was incredibly moving. Everyone in that meeting were convinced that this is a topic that we must address with the young people in our community. And doing so through Hamilton County Schools and the MOU that we have had with Centerstone for several years now has been really transformative for a lot of youth in our community. It is a free service. It does not cost Hamilton County taxpayers 1 red cent in county taxes. It is free. Those services are provided only with parental consent. And as of 7:30 a.m. this morning, our school board, as some of the members have communicated with me, that they have received over 400 emails in support of the MOU with Centerstone. 0 in opposition. Multiple teachers, administrators have spoken about the personal struggles that these children have and have expressed how they have witnessed students progress and improve for the better after receiving services from Centerstone. And as we are the funding body, my initial reaction was, okay, well, if the school board doesn't want to do this, can the county fund it another way? But it's free. And we're going to refuse these services. It is unconscionable to me that this is the direction that we've gone in Hamilton County right now. I'm concerned about it significantly. I know that there are conversations going on today and yesterday, and hopefully these will continue about how we can readdress providing these critical services for the children in our community. It is a lot of the decisions that we make up here in local government are not life or death situations. This very well could be. And I hope that this topic is reconsidered shortly, and the direction that this county has gone is reversed. Chairman, I thank you for the time to address that. Thank you.
Commissioner Chauncey,
No announcements.
Commissioner Highlander.
I'll try to be brief, but thank you, Chairman. As education chair, I'm aware that the school board has met and discussed their facilities. And I'm going to say the mayor brought to us the most expansive, I guess you'd say is the only way I can think of, bond for school improvements that we've seen in recent years. And I think we all appreciate that. All of us do. They are looking at the expanded growth in the outlying areas and the needs that are going to be there, from Lookout Mountain and Signal Mountain to definitely Signal Mountain and to Sail Creek and Birchwood. And they have some concerns. And obviously, we know and they're aware that we're on a new bond. We're probably 4 to 6 years out. Would you, if you give me a nod, Mayor, we're looking at that. If you think we're a good time off, we're paying it off. And we want to keep our bond rating. But in lieu of that, for school finance in the future and school buildings in the future, I'd like for us to look at this fall, either late September or early to mid-October, having a combined, just a talk session with the school board. And what Commissioner Sharp brought up, mental health, we all know that if you study the literature at all, the teenage suicide is tremendously high right now. And whatever we can do to slow that down or stop, I'd love to stop it, but we do it. But I would, if you all gentlemen would kind of talk to me about when would be a good time for you. I know it's a busy season. Before we get in the holiday season, I'd like to have a joint meeting with this commission and the school board. And we're not going to decide anything, just get to know each other and see where each other's coming on needs and for the near future. And Mayor, we'd love to have you if you're available, come to that. And thank you, Chairman.
Hey, Commissioner Graham.
No announcements. Dr. Ware, I apologize for keeping you all morning. I know you got to get back to school, and Dr. Robertson, I don't know what you got to do, but I know you're busy, but we're almost there, I promise. Thank you.
Attorney Barnell.
No announcements.
Mayor Watt. Okay. No announcements from the chair. Go to the public portion. Want to make sure, does anyone here have anything from the general public? Okay. See no one with the general public. With that, no other business will be adjourned until September the 3rd at 9:30 a.m. We'll go to committee meeting, start with finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're going to give just a moment for IT to switch over our streams.